Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Room Podcast, the award-winning Film Room Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 29. I'm your host, Joe Baress, along with my co-host, Joby Fawcett. Joby, how we doing?
Well, Joe, let me ask you a question. If you're going to continually announce your award-winning podcast here, am I going to have to pull an Oscars and cut you off early in your acceptance?
That's fair. Listen, I just wanted to say it once at the top of the show, and I don't know, maybe I'll do it again. I don't know.
Listen, you've earned it.
That's right.
Congratulations. Hey, listen, it was an incredibly busy last couple of days since last we spoke to our audience, so we might as well dive in with both feet, Joe.
Exactly. Pretty exciting weekend, obviously, and we are joined by one of the athletes who made that happen, Cameron Parker of Old Forge Basketball. Cam, how we doing, man?
Doing good.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Just to let people know what Cam did last week. First of all, he had a game-high 18 points in a state second round game on Tuesday in a win over Delco Christian, and then on Saturday in the PIAA Class 2A quarterfinals. He had a game-high 21 points, including 15 in a crucial third quarter when Old Forge went on a 20-6 run to take the lead, and then they held off DeLone Catholic for a 51-39 victory. Obviously, Cam, I've talked to you a couple times since then, so not to belabor the point, but I'm kind of interested in, obviously, if people don't know by now, one of his teammates, Ryan DeMarco, went down with one of those brutal leg injuries that's just, it's horrific to see. Unfortunately, it become way more common. What was that halftime like for you guys in order to kind of come out and, like you've told me, this is your brother out there and it's bigger than basketball. What was that halftime like for you guys as you kind of prepared for the third quarter of this game?
Going into halftime, going into that locker room, we're not only down, but like you said, we lost a brother to us. And, the coaches were just telling us, like, we got to gather our emotions if we really want to win this game. Because if we're out on the court emotional still, our heads spinning still, this game could easily turn nasty. And, they can get a huge lead where we don't have a chance. But, when we got into that locker room, our coaches just really pressure us to be like, we got to control this game as the best ability we can. What happened to Ryan was bigger than basketball, like you said, and nobody ever wants to see that on both sides of the court to ever happen to anybody. But, after that halftime, we knew that he would want us to win that game. So we collected ourselves, like the coaches said. We went out there and we gave the best performance we possibly could.
So, Cam, you and I have obviously spoken a lot over the course of the last two seasons, which have been absolutely memorable in the Old Forge pantheon of boys basketball. And, you've had such a great career individually, but this team success you've enjoyed. I just spoke with head coach J.J. Thomas earlier today, and we kind of touched on a little bit of the mindset that you and your teammates had after losing last year in that round, quarterfinal round, to eventual state champion Linville Hill. So tell me what that was like for you emotionally, leaving that locker room down at Whitehall, and then the kind of motivation you and your teammates had knowing 4 of the 5 stars were coming back this year.
Last year, like you said, we competed with a lot of teams, just like Linville, where they were tough, but we were in the game the whole time. So we knew when we were on the court, we could compete with anybody. But after that loss, it hurt. And then seeing them eventually being the state champions, we were like, we competed with this team, and we know that we compete with any level team that comes out on the court. So going into this year, we had a couple bad losses again, close games. But towards the end of the season, we got a good one against Dunmore. And that really pushed us into this playoffs to really push a good state run, because we know any team that we go on the court with, we can perform or outperform them to eventually get the W.
Yeah, and it really showed in that third quarter on Saturday. Obviously, you score 15 points in that quarter, but it's got to be tough. Obviously, the other team comes out, they get a dunk to go up 10, but Arthur Askew hits a big time three, and then you're able to start to get hot. You hit that 4-point play. It's just, I thought that was really the play that really, put the belief in you guys and your team. How are you able to keep, that level of confidence after a slower start to the first half?
Right when we came out at halftime and they got that dunk down, I'm going to be honest, when I was running down the court, I was like, they're going to try to bury us right here. But like you said, with that Arthur Askew three, that was big and it got the crowd going. Then I was like, if we get this crowd going, we get these guys hitting shots, we can definitely make a push. In that 4-point play, as soon as it went in, I heard that whistle, I knew the energy was about to shift. And that's exactly what it did. Hit that shot, crowds erupting, all of a sudden the other team's looking kind of down. The score is getting closer, and that's when we knew right there that we can make a push and we can win this game.
Cam, so for me, I had to follow Joe Baress's outstanding coverage via X. And, I'm on the edge of my seat as you guys are playing and making this terrific comeback and inspirational performance for your fallen teammate. But I kind of expect something like that from this group. At various times during the year, somebody has always done something to contribute to a big win or a big run or come up with a huge play, a steal, a dunk, a 3-pointer. Arthur Askew got a 4-point play against Delco Christian. This group that you have played with is so special. Kind of expand on that a little bit about what each of you means to each other and how you all know at any time any one of you can change a game.
I'm getting like this coverage of making these big plays, but it's not only me. It's this whole team. Cameron Krishnowski the other day, that Saturday day, he went out there with our point guard falling down. He just took a new role, and he didn't try to do too much, but he was just himself. He handled the ball and hit some big time threes where if he doesn't hit those, this game could be so much closer. I could say the same exact thing like you said with Arthur Askew and Robbie Safanelli. Came out in the game, played great defense, both of them, hit big time threes. We've built that trust over the last 8 years with each other, whether it's playing in practice, on the court, at the Music Youth Center. We've just built so much trust in each other that when we swing the rock, we believe that anybody can hit a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam, this part of the podcast is usually reserved for Joby, where he comes in and says like, oh, I knew this person's father, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to be the old guy today. And I'm sorry, I haven't told you this yet, but I'm a Holy Cross graduate. So I used to be rivals with your coach, JJ Thomas. We were in the same grade, both class of 2008. And just a quick funny story. One of the games we were preparing, and that team had great shooters like, Steven Semenza and, a few others. But so our game plan going in was let JJ Thomas shoot. That's fine. He can shoot all day. And I swear to you, he came in and hit his first 6 shots.
I don't know if I can believe that.
Well, I'll have to find the game film so you can believe it. But yeah, he knocked out 6 straight shots. I'm just like, geez, we should probably guard him now. But for you, I think, obviously you guys have done a remarkable job as players, but I think that JJ Thomas and the coaching staff has done a phenomenal job, not only in coaching, but, building this family. Talk about the coaching staffs, how great this coaching staff has been for you guys.
When I was a freshman, I wasn't expecting to get brought up to the varsity level, but I am so grateful that those guys got in their room and decided to bring me up, including Ryan DeMarco, because that year taught us so much of how we're supposed to be captains, how we're supposed to be leaders, and how Old Forge basketball is supposed to be played. And, they've taught me so much that I give so much credit to them and how my game is today, because their belief in me, I wouldn't be able to do what I do out there today.
So, Joe, you're trying to steal some thunder there
I know. I took your spot.
What do you think? I don't have a connection to Cameron
I bet you do.
and Arthur Askew. And I know these guys. Their dads are my generation. Kyle Parker was unbelievable.
There it is.
Oh, God, don't get to start. He's going to listen to this and he's going to get a big ego and he's going to tell me all about it.
Now, wait a minute. He is going to listen to this podcast. And you know what? I bet you he would be mad if I didn't bring up his storied high school career. So you've lived up to that. You've lived up to those lofty, the Parker name.
I think I've outlived it. I think I've created a new standard.
Absolutely.
Your standard has, yes, gone past. But if I remember correctly, and your dad will correct me if next time he sees me, you know, he's been sitting next to me at some games, Cameron.
Oh,
and he was an excellent running back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I did not know. I thought he was a little skinny wide receiver out there.
Well, maybe he was more of a wide receiver than a running back. But you have to remember, we didn't throw the ball much in the
Yeah, that is true.
You know, listen, so and Arthur's dad, I believe, played for Scranton Tech. He was an excellent athlete for Scranton Tech. So yeah, I do have some connection with you guys. But all that being said, listen, this has been, what you and I spoke earlier in the year. This has been a special group for a lot of reasons, but in particular, your connection with Art Lucarelli, who unfortunately passed away after his battle with cancer. And that was a really emotional story for even me to write, because I knew Arthur from when he was younger too. And I did the story, if you remember, you may be too young, but his older son, Dante, was the girls coach. We did a story. It was very shortly after Arthur had passed away. And then, of course, you guys have the younger brother on your team. So the emotions of this, okay, this group has kind of gone through in a small community like Old Forge. How has that kind of helped carry you guys this year?
Throughout every single year, we always remember Artie as our first coach who's taught us everything. And, we might have been young, but I know me and all my friends, we can remember all the memories we made with just not only us, but with him. And, we're just so grateful to be able to have Jake Lucarelli on our team with us too, because I know he loved his father and he likes to just represent him every time he's able to step out on the field or the court. And, I would say that the passing of Artie's definitely brought all of us even closer together, because even the other night when everybody was saying we were doing for Ryan, I always remembered that it wasn't only for Ryan, but it was for Artie too. We will always remember that he was such a big impact on all of us.
Absolutely. Cam, and just to expand a little bit on, the Old Forge fans, the Old Forge community, like I said, I remember back in the day playing for Holy Cross, having to go into the Devil's Den, and that was not fun. And, and even on Saturday, in that big Martz Hall gym, you could feel the energy of the Old Forge crowd. You could hear them. They sat on every side of the court. It felt like that's where the noise was coming from. What is it like playing basketball with this Old Forge community surrounding you?
When as a sophomore, we would go out into the games and there wouldn't be a lot of fans, but we know the people that have always supported us. And now today, seeing all the fans in the stands screaming, yelling, just saying how proud they are of us. We're just so grateful to have just one borough, one town, just to be behind us throughout this whole entire ride, because I don't know if they fully know it, but their support really carries through, not only in the games, but it just boosts our confidence knowing that people believe in us like they do.
So, Cam, this has been a great run for you, and obviously it's still going on, right? But I want to take you back to the Dunmore game at the regular season finale. And the reason I want to talk about that a little bit is because Dunmore beat you in the regular season, won that desperation three-pointer that made ESPN. And that certainly isn't going to sit well with you guys, on top of Harvard loss. It gets on national television, right? And then, you had some other tough, heartbreaking losses. You were leading Riverside going into the fourth quarter, first time around, and they ended up beating you by 7. lost a very difficult game. Cross at home after beating them at Holy Cross earlier in the year. Again, it was a 3-point game. Then you lost by 2 to Riverside in the rematch. And after a while, those heartbreaking losses tend to kind of have a negative effect on a team. That Dunmore win in the regular season finale, I thought that meant a lot to you guys, you and your teammates. And it was important for you to get that win going into the playoffs. Do you feel the same way?
I definitely feel the same way because these last 4 years, we've had so many close games where we've lost by 2, 3, where we had a lead of 8 throughout the whole game. And, you hate to lose those games, but our coaches always remind us, like, yeah, we lost this game, but down the stretch, these aren't going to matter when we get to this district and state playoffs. And definitely represents this year because we lost a couple close games where we know we should have came out on top. But now we're on the run that is our last run that we can ever have. And that Dunmore win definitely pushed us to go as far as possible because, like, we had no Ryan DeMarco. He was out with an eye injury. And then later on in that game, Cam Krishnowski fouls out, and we have Aiden Aversa come in where they have a lot of experience, but I and everybody else definitely believed in him. But that win just showed us, even with 2 guys down, we could compete with anybody because we have the skills, we have the drive, and we know we can play with all of them.
Absolutely. Cam, this is probably a loaded question considering, we've been talking so much about the importance of pretty much all of your teammates, but who is there a teammate that has impressed you the most? I know that Aiden Aversa just came up right now. Is there a teammate that has impressed you the most with their development this season?
Definitely I want to just say only this season, but the last 4 to 3 years would definitely be Logan Fanning. When we were playing travel basketball, we were all kind of the same size, but then he hit that growth spurt and we knew he could be a great player. And, for a little bit, he was playing a little passive. He wasn't as aggressive, but the last 2 years, he's taken the biggest jump that none of us have taken. It's just amazing that he's this force in the paint that I know other teams are scared of. And we're just so proud of the steps he's taken to become such a great player.
Is there anything better that lifts you guys up than when he gets that 2-handed slam?
Honestly, I think when one of those guards come down the paint and he smacks the ball off the wall, the crowd going. It's just awesome. And he's like, they're on the floor and he's yelling. I'm just yelling with them. It's amazing.
He has really developed good timing with shot blocking.
Yeah.
Now, he was the Lackawanna Division II Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. He has been impressive. Okay, Cam, listen, we're going to hit you with a tough question here because obviously, you're still playing. Okay, we're great win on Saturday. We are facing United, District 6 champion, which is undefeated. Okay, so I know you guys do a lot of film study at Old Forge and a lot of scouting reports. This is a talented team, so what's it going to take for you guys to kind of come out on top of it?
They're running with a lot of confidence right now. I saw a stat that this is their first year with state playoff wins, and it's their first 3 in school history. And we know they're running on a high right now, but we believe we can stop it because we've seen a lot of great teams, but we've been able to stop them when they're running. And they're undefeated. They've beaten a lot of teams, but we feel like we're the force that could stop them to get that one step closer to Hershey.
Absolutely. Cam, the last thing from me, obviously found out yesterday when we were doing the Athlete of the Week interview that you are a Laker fan. So am I. So I know you've been a little busy, but the Lakers have been on a little bit of a run, winning some big time games. What do you think? What do you think the Lakers' chances are of, I don't know that they're a title contender, but what do you think about the Lakers at this point in the season?
I was a little mad at Rob Pelinka for not making any really moves, but that Luke Kennard edition was very good.
Yeah.
I think, though, at the big position, DeAndre Ayton's just really inefficient.
Yep.
It's just, I want to believe they can make it around the playoffs if everybody's playing well, they're playing good basketball. I'm a huge LeBron fan. He's the greatest player to me of all time. But if he takes that little bit of a backseat role and let Luka and Austin run the show, I think they can make a run.
I couldn't agree more. Exactly. I don't understand why, I feel like, we're talking about you guys, playing your hearts out. And I feel like DeAndre Ayton, it just depends on the day.
It really does. Like the other night when they played the Nuggets, big block on Jokic and then lets the ball roll out of bounds.
Right.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
You gotta hustle for that.
That's DeAndre Ayton in a nutshell. Seriously. All right.
So,
Go ahead,
Cam, before we let him go, Joe, the tournament bracket came out, and later on in this episode, I'm going to have Joe Baress tell me the 4 teams that he thinks are going to be in the Final Four. What do you think, Cam? Give me an idea. So when I fill out my bracket, I'm going to say I got great advice from one of the best players in the state.
Oh gosh, I haven't even made a bracket yet.
So who do you think, though? Who do you think's got a shot to?
The teams I really think have a shot, definitely Duke. I thought Alabama, but their star guard just went out on some charges, so he's not playing.
Yep.
I might just have to go with Darius Acuff is on a run right now. He's playing really good basketball.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go with Duke on this. I think Duke.
Oh boy,
I like this guy.
Their guards are playing pretty good basketball. They got Cameron Boozer in there. He's just a force.
Yep.
I really think they have the keys to do it.
All right. Well, I'm not going to hold that against you, my friend. You're a good guy, and I love to watch you play, the passion you play with, and you are certainly a great leader there at Old Forge. And I know, because I know the character of you players down there, that one borough, that one town, that stuff means a lot to you. And
Yes, sir.
you're going to play great on Tuesday, and I look forward to making the 2.5-hour ride out there to see you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Cam. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. All right. That was Cameron Parker of Old Forge basketball.
I'm not picking Duke, by the way.
You're not picking Duke? Come on.
Yes.
Come on. I know you UNC fan. You UNC fan, you. That's
They're
right.
going to be one and done anyway, so I'm not. my new team is Hofstra because.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to remember, Joe, my daughter graduated from Hofstra, and the last time that the Pride qualified for the tournament was the COVID year, and we got T-shirts and everything. We weren't even able to wear them because they didn't play a game.
Right. Yeah, it's brutal. But
don't forget, Siena's involved in this tournament as well, playing Duke in the
they're
first.
playing Duke, yeah.
Maybe the GMAC magic will lead to Duke being ousted in the first round. A little 16-1 matchup.
Joby, I hate this. Like, really, they have to be playing Duke in the first round? I hate it.
Nothing wrong with you rooting for Gerry to have a very successful first round and upsetting Duke.
I don't want to do that.
I know you're a Duke fan, but listen, you've got to support GMAC.
All respect to GMAC. I'm a Duke fan. What do you want me to do, Joby?
I'm not asking you to root against Duke. I'm telling you got to root for Gerry.
I've got a couple days. Think about it.
I'll be rooting for Gerry wholeheartedly.
No kidding.
Television.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about that later, perhaps. But I do want to say that this Old Forge game was really something that, like we were talking about, it kind of goes beyond basketball in that, Joby, you know this team way better than I do. I just had the fortune of covering them on Saturday. But to see your teammate suffer the injury that he suffered and to be just, very just kind of in shock. There were players crying, understandably so. And, at that point, you're just hoping that your teammate, that your brother is okay. And then all of a sudden you got to play 2.5 quarters of a basketball game, and to come out in that third quarter, again, following an opening dunk from DeLone Catholic to give them a 10-point lead, and to come back in that third quarter and go on a 20-6 run and, almost put the game away, at least turn the game on its head, is just an absolutely incredible feat. Yeah, I was really amazed because, understandably so, I was kind of thinking, Old Forge is in trouble in this game. How do you play basketball after that? And that goes for DeLone Catholic as well. But just incredible to watch. The love the crowd had for Ryan, the love the team had for Ryan, and to really go out there and be like, and for Ryan to just immediately say, "Go win this game," to this team. That was what mattered to him in that moment. And for them to go out and do it will be probably one of the greatest things I see all year happen in high school sports. So just an incredible effort by this team that is clearly a tight-knit family.
Yeah, Joe, and listen, I'm glad you got opportunity to see this team play. You're covering the wrestling for the most part in the winter, and I certainly do ball hog when it comes to bring our best teams. But that being said, I was worried. I was concerned. I'm not going to lie to anybody when Ryan went down. Quick update. I spoke with JJ Thomas earlier today, as I mentioned, and I guess Ryan had his surgery yesterday and is home and recovering. So
good.
That's good news there. It was as serious as you described it, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a tough kid. I mean, a good family and a really hard-nosed type of kid. He really is the heart and soul of that team. I think he really defines the spirit of Old Forge. Okay, so this group, as you mentioned, it came as no surprise that when I saw your updates that Old Forge was making this valiant comeback, because I knew they would be inspired and they would elevate their play. And I will say, and we'll have a little preview in the paper tomorrow before they head out to Spring Mills. Their competitive schedule that they've played during the course of the year, and we touched on it a little bit there with Cameron. I think those heartbreaking losses did really harden this team's core, and they've faced adversity. They've beaten adversity. They've come out the other end, and this was just another example of that. And I just think anytime you get that, there is a part of the game where you're gonna be a little bit out of it, okay, emotionally. But once this team kind of gets itself focused, it's an extremely talented team, and I look forward to seeing them play in the semifinals.
Yeah, Joby, and he'll kind of understate it, but Cam played out of his mind in that third quarter. It was such an impressive performance, but he's also not lying when Arthur Askew comes up with a big 3-pointer to kind of get them going in that third quarter. Robbie Silfanelli hits a big 3 in the fourth quarter. Cam Krishnowski had 4 threes, 2 of them in the fourth quarter, to kind of put the game away. He obviously mentioned Logan Fanning, who's, when you look at the box score from Saturday, you don't quite see the impact that he had. And it is exactly what you and Cameron talked about, just his presence in the middle. He was altering several shots. If he wasn't altering it, he was swatting it away. And just his presence and his effort in the middle is just a massive plus for this team. So there are just, and you phrased the perfect question too, is that this entire team, someone is always ready to step when needed. And they have this ultimate trust in each other because, obviously most of them are pretty much all of them are seniors, it seems like. And, they've been together and they just have this ultimate family bond and trust in each other. And it goes through. And you also said it perfectly, you go through all those losses but really what it is, it's just part of the journey. And here they are in the state semifinals. Just a big time year for Old Forge already. And we'll see what happens Tuesday, like you said.
Yeah, John, listen, you had the extreme pleasure of covering both of the Lackawanna League teams that are still alive.
Yeah.
The Scranton Prep girls team, boy, that group had a pretty good effort as well on Saturday. And maybe not necessarily of the comeback variety, but certainly an outstanding performance. We talked earlier this year about Chloe McNamara, with Chloe McNamara, former athlete of the week, about this is a totally different team, totally different starting five.
Yeah.
For Scranton Prep. And here they are now in the semifinals after a big win over Susquehanna Township. Joe, you brought home the bacon on Saturday.
Apparently, right? Yeah, I'm the good luck charm. Yeah, Joby, you're stating it perfect. You're kind of setting me up perfectly here with, this is whereas Old Forge, gets that third quarter rally. This was kind of your classic, blow for blow, rock fight. Honestly, these teams kind of battled through. It was a physical game, and in the first three quarters, it sounds kind of dumb to say because Chloe McNamara is a fantastic player. Everyone knows this, but she carried that team, on both ends of the floor in those first three quarters, scoring 22 points, 22 of the 30 points for the team. And the plays she was making, the shots she was hitting, just great post moves, getting on the glass on the offensive and defensive end. She was phenomenal. And Coach Bob Bavilia said, after the game, it's absolutely true. She's a Division I basketball player. And anyone who saw that game, if there were any scouters or anything there, they would know that she's Division I and sign me up for that. So she was fantastic. And you come up with Shannon Bistricki, just a big time fourth quarter, hitting 3 threes, scoring 11 of her 14 points in that fourth quarter to really help put that game away. It was really fantastic. A fantastic effort by Scranton Prep. Fantastic coaching effort by Bob Avilia and it was just a close game all throughout, back and forth. Susquehanna Township was a really, really good team. If they play that game, 10 times, I think each team wins 5. I think they were really, really close. That J.C. Martin on Susquehanna Township could shoot. She hit some deep threes. So that was just a great game. And I'll note, I know we've noted this in the past, but as you know, Eva Kashuba, in the morning swims in the qualifying races at states for Class 2A, comes down to Pottsville, and it's funny, they win the game. She had some great plays. There was a point where Scranton Prep went down in the fourth quarter, and then she kind of drove to the basket and drew a foul, hit 2 free throws to give them a 1-point lead. I thought that moment was huge. She also found Shannon Bistricki in the corner for one of her big time fourth quarter threes. Again, another game where, she wouldn't show up. What she didn't entirely show up in the box score. She had a big effect. But the point is, they win the game, they celebrate and pretty much say, "Bye, Eva," and she runs out the door and goes to the finals for swimming. And that's still crazy to me. I know we talked to her about it when she was a guest on the podcast and an athlete of the week, but pretty crazy there. But, great effort by Scranton Prep to get this win, 5 new starters, and they've advanced further than they did last season.
Yeah. And Joe, we've had some others. Great job by Kashuba,
Yeah.
And that's a Herculean effort.
Yeah.
I know I was concerned when I saw that Scranton Prep had to play an afternoon game, but the time schedule certainly worked for her. Okay, because she was able to do it, and that's a credit to her and her family to travel from Lewisburg to Pottsville, and then back to Lewisburg for the night swim. I mean, anybody who's logged a lot of miles in travel, she's an athlete, but she's also cramped in a car.
Right.
Right. And she still won a state medal in the 100 breaststroke. So congratulations to her. And we'll talk a little bit about the state swimming, but just to really recap, Joe, we also have two teams from Montana Valley Conference playing in the girls basketball. Crestwood's in action, and Holy Redeemer both advanced in their respective classifications. Two very talented teams. I got a chance to see them over the District 2 championship weekend, and I really expect them to do quite well in the next couple of days here.
Joby, Crestwood rolled. I mean, I was writing the Old Forge story. Steve Bennett was covering the Crestwood game in between.
That's a talented team, Joe.
I mean, they dominated that game. I mean, it's the state quarterfinals, for Pete's sake. And they rolled. Every time I looked up, it was like, oh my God, this team really good. I'm not, breaking any news here, but that Crestwood team's great. That Holy Redeemer team has played exceptional in the postseason. And I think they're playing the team that knocked out Dunmore, if I'm right, tonight.
That's correct. We almost had the rematch of the District 2 Class 3A championship game, and Hughesville was able to upset, but certainly come back from a deficit to beat Dunmore and prevent that. So, but a great season by Dunmore, Joe. We forget sometimes when we're doing this show. I got a chance to cover Dunmore when it advanced last week to the quarterfinals, and that senior class that includes Amanda Dempsey and Jackie Brown, they're the last of the members of the team that won the state title.
Right.
So I thought that they played exceptional basketball in the victory over Executive Education. And clearly Hughesville's got a talented team if it was able to beat this Dunmore team. But yeah, there was that potential that Holy Redeemer and Dunmore were going to play round 2 in the semifinals, but we'll have Holy Redeemer taking on Hughesville in that one.
Exactly. And Joby, I should probably mention, I did get to cover Mountain View on Tuesday for their second round game, the Mountain View girls. And they did lose on Friday in the quarterfinals, which ends, obviously the great high school career of Addison Kilmer. I mean, not the way you wanted to end it, but a remarkable career by her.
Joe, there's only one team that's happy at the end of the year.
Right.
And that's the team that wins the state title. Okay. And he needs classification. But Addison Kilmer has done so much more than just set records at Mountain View. For 4 years, that girls basketball program really has been at the forefront of Lackawanna League and District 2, and certainly made quite an impact on the state level. And while you don't get this far without the contributions of everybody.
Right.
Addison Kilmer's been at the epicenter of it, and literally and figuratively. Okay, 6'1". She is the second all-time leading scorer in Lackawanna League history. While there's no official tally, she's got to have the all-time lead for career rebounds and block shots as well. And more importantly, Joe, we don't state this, we don't understate this ever. A district semifinal or a state semifinal as a freshman, state final as a sophomore in Class A, state semifinal last year, and state quarterfinals this year. That is quite a resume.
It's incredible. Exactly. And Joby, you were at the Riverside West Catholic rematch Saturday. Riverside ends up losing that game, but just watching the highlights, Joby, that West Catholic team looks really, really good. And, obviously Riverside is really, really good as well. And that seemed like quite a battle out there.
Yeah, Joe, I had both two teams get eliminated over the weekend down at Bethlehem Liberty High School, Scranton Prep on Friday.
Right.
Against Devin Prep, which appears now to be a thorn in the side of District 2 teams.
Yeah.
Devin Prep, coached by Jason Fisher, Hall of Famer from the University of Scranton. And Devin Prep eliminated Valley View in the semifinals last year in Class 4A, and this year eliminated both Valley View and Scranton Prep in the second round and quarterfinals. And, Joe, the one thing about Scranton Prep, and I was concerned about it going into this game, was, if Devin Prep could get itself in a rhythm offensively, it would have given a little bit of a problem, because that's a couple of guys who could score. And the game was really back and forth, and Scranton Prep really fought a heck of a battle. And eventually, Devon Prep kind of got things going in the third quarter and built a big enough lead where it was able to hold off Scranton Prep rallies. And then Brody Martin tried to give all he could in the fourth quarter. It just, wasn't going to be enough. Devon Prep, defending 4A champion in the state and two-time state champion, Devon Prep won in 3A 2 years ago and eliminated Riverside. So
yeah,
this program's really, really kind of taking a hatchet to District 2 teams. But that being said, great season, great career for Packy Doherty, great senior year for Brody Martin, and this Scranton Prep team is going to be heard from again. They've got some real young talent coming up. Joby Doherty, of course, is going to be fantastic. Chicky Scott's only a sophomore. So, and then the Riverside on Saturday afternoon, Joe. Here's the thing. If anybody read my story, and I hope people did, Nico Antonacci is clearly one of the 4 or 5 best players in the state, okay? Regardless of classification. And I don't put Braden Rose too far behind on that scale, okay?
Yeah.
And they really gave 2 terrific efforts in this game. But what you have often said, and what is sometimes can get overlooked, is when you're playing a team like a West Catholic, the defending state champions, there's talent there too.
Right.
So you've got to play well, and you have to get a little bit of luck, Joe. It can't just only be, your stars playing fantastic. That goes without saying. I mean, clearly Nico Antonacci had 36 points, and Riverside wouldn't even have been in this game if it wasn't for the 31-point and the 18-point fourth quarter from Braden Rose in the second round game, okay, against High School of the Future. So I think Riverside played about as well. I mean, I think they played a great game, and I know people are going to be critical of them because of the 25-1 record, and then they had kind of seized that favorites role to winning in Class 3A. But I thought they played well. West Catholic just at times, executed and made a quick little burst of a run there in the third quarter, and it carried over into the fourth. And Antonacci tried to do everything he could in that fourth quarter, much like Braden Rose did against High School of the Future. It just didn't work out.
Right.
And this team doesn't have anything to hang its head about. It was a terrific performance, a terrific season for Riverside, and again, just a great performance. We started the year with a 53-point first half from Nico Antonacci. We finished with a 36-point game in the state playoff quarterfinal game. So he's had a terrific sophomore season. Braden Rose had a great junior year. The whole team played well, and there's a lot to be proud of. They're just disappointed that it ended for them because they really were our best team.
Right, and and Joby, like you said, they'll be back next year.
Yeah, Joe. Listen, they'll be back, and you got to fill some holes. Okay, Mikey Schimmelfinnig is a senior. He was a terrific defensive player.
Yep. All
defensive team. And Kyle Connor hit some huge shots for this team along the way. Had 18 points in the first round of the state playoffs. So, they're going to have a couple of guys they got to replace, but they'll be back. Those two kids are good. They're going to both be in that all-state conversation here coming up in the next couple of weeks. So,
absolutely. So just to recap, we have the Holy Redeemer girls playing tonight, depending on when you're able to listen to this podcast. Right now, it's 3:04 in the afternoon. They're playing Hughesville at Hazleton. Game starts at 6. Steve Bennett will be at that game, so follow him on X. Tomorrow night, we have the Old Forge boys facing District 6 champion United at Penns Valley High School in Spring Mills. That's at 7. Joby will be at that game. Follow at SportsTT on X for updates. In Class 4A, the Scranton Prep girls are playing District 12 runner-up but defending state champion Newman Goretti at Liberty High School at 6 o'clock. Scott will be there. And Class 5A, the Crestwood girls will be facing District 12 champion Archbishop Wood at Liberty High School following the Scranton Prep game at 7:30. Steve Bennett will be there. I believe Archbishop Wood is who Crestwood lost to last year in the same exact semifinal round. So that's what we got on tap the next couple days for the state basketball championships.
Very exciting time of the year for these kids, and we want to wish them all the very best of luck.
Absolutely. And, if our teams end up winning those games, the state basketball championships are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm not sure which days the teams would be playing in. Probably something I should have looked up.
I think Old Forge would be on Friday at 2, Joe.
Okay. Gotcha. I think Scranton Prep would be on Saturday.
Saturday at 2.
Okay. So there you go.
It would be part of a busy Saturday.
Right. So yeah, that's where we stand at basketball. Joby, I don't know if you want to just run down the state swimming over the weekend.
So again, I try to monitor it the best I could with all the basketball that was going on. Got a great assist from Kevin McConaughey again.
Yeah.
From the Wayne County Examiner up there. And he helped out on Friday while I was doing the Scranton Prep boys basketball game. Joe, fantastic weekend for our kids. Now in 3A, it's very difficult to win medals. Okay, that is an extremely competitive classification for high school swimming in the state. But our kids did a great job. A lot of them had personal best swims, and I want to congratulate them. It was a fantastic season, in particular from the kids from Abington Heights, the boys and girls. Of course, those two teams won District 2 team championships, and all of their athletes and representatives did well. And, notwithstanding, Roy Ayala from West Scranton had a school record performance in the 100 breaststroke, and he and Abington Heights' Derek Williams each had B final swims in their particular events. Derek Williams was in the 50-yard freestyle. So congratulations to those two young athletes. They had a great stay out at Bucknell University. And then we had the unbelievable performances. The Tunkhannock boys finished second in the team standings in Class 2A, which again I expect them to challenge for that team title. They had some good individual performances. Kyle Kozlowski, I believe, won a bronze medal in the 50 free, and Jaden Baltrositis was fourth in the 50 free, and their relay teams were successful, including a gold medal performance. Okay, and
yeah.
So great job by the kids from Tunkhannock. And Lucas Iannone was our, again, friend of the show. He won a silver medal in the 200 IM, and then he also won a fourth place medal in the 100 backstroke. So he was our top Lackawanna League medal winner in the Class 2A meet. And then in the girls, we did mention Eva Kashuba returning to win a medal in that 100 breaststroke event. Ella Schofield, her teammate, finished right behind her in fifth place. So those two athletes won medals, and Rebecca Oakes won a fifth place medal in her 100 fly. And then those three athletes teamed with Sophia Galco to win a couple of relay medals for Scranton Prep, including a silver. So really outstanding performances by our athletes. And Dallas's Megan Kuzma won a medal, I believe a bronze in the diving event in 2A.
Right.
So it's hard for me to follow it because it's, they're night sessions. And of course, we had those basketball games. And so we did the best we could under extremely tight circumstances. And we hope everybody is okay with that. And I have to say, and I'll have a story in the paper tomorrow in the Times-Tribune on just what was an incredibly successful season by Lackawanna League swimmers, not just this year, but the seniors in particular over the course of the last 4 years.
Yep. I was just going to mention that, you've got that column appearing in Tuesday's paper. As you had mentioned earlier, you've got a preview and a little capsule breakdown of the state semifinal game, Old Forge against United, which will be in Tuesday's paper. You can also get all this stuff online as well. If you want to hear even more from Cameron Parker, phenomenal interview, obviously you just heard. I interviewed him yesterday. His Athlete of the Week interview will be appearing in Tuesday's paper and online. And also the veteran Scotty Walsh will have a preview of Scranton Prep's semifinal game in tomorrow's paper as well.
Joe, and Scott Walsh logging a lot of miles. Speaking of which, I believe he's going to be on the University of Scranton Lady Royals bandwagon as they move on into the Final Four.
Yeah, I definitely want to mention that as well. Congratulations to the Lady Royals and obviously the local player heavy roster and the coach as well. Ben O'Brien, former Dunmore coach, just doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Sophia Toledo, also a Dunmore graduate, and, the seniors, Casey Cranston and Kaylee Romanowski, just absolutely massive, just really driving the bus of this run that the Lady Royals have had these last few years, and now culminating in a Final Four appearance. They're going to face NYU, the defending champion. It's going to be
their nemesis.
Yep, exactly. So that's going to be a hell of a game. That is Thursday. Yep, I think the plan is to have Scott go out there and cover it, but
either way, he's going to be monitoring him, Joe. He's a University of Scranton graduate.
Exactly. So congratulations to them. And also, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Gerry McNamara led Siena to the NCAA tournament by winning the conference tournament. And yeah, they're the 16 seed facing my Duke Blue Devils. So again, that's fun. But in all seriousness, congratulations to him making his return to the NCAA tournament, this time as the head coach of Siena, with one of their key players, Justice Schultz, Holy Redeemer grad. So
Redeemer grad, Joe, and PIAA Class 2A, the long jump champion.
Oh yeah, true. So, great to see the locals representing there as well. But yeah, that's where we stand. Joby, I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know how Scott's doing it. I don't know how you're keeping up with all this stuff. But
we're trying. We're giving it an effort. I know we get heavily criticized, but you know what? It's been a grind for us too, and we're doing everything we can. Believe me when I tell you, the high school tennis season started last week, Joe.
Exactly.
On top of that, I was filling in singles records last night.
Oh my goodness!
Trying to get myself caught up because I fell behind a little bit being away.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. So
exactly, just to you guys have done a phenomenal job. I mean, obviously it's not something that I'm used to. Basketball's different from wrestling coverage wise, and
kind of grind, right, Joe?
Yeah. But I mean, you guys have done. What'd you guys do? Like 3 double headers a piece last week? Like,
well, I got lucky on Friday and Saturday. I didn't have to do 2, so that was good. But yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, we both did them, and double headers are not easy.
It's no easy task. It's really not. Like even I got lucky covering the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock games on Saturday, and even still, like I interviewed the 2 Cams, Cameron Krishnowski and Cam Parker, just immediately after the game, and they gave me 2 great interviews, so I was really happy about that. But you run back to your seat and start typing, and boy, that Crestwood game ended quickly.
Well, that's a part of it, Joe. So, as we mentioned before, I don't know what your accommodations were at Mart's Hall, but I had to write from the car.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on with my laptop, but on Tuesday wasn't too bad. I was able to get both my games written and box scores done, and then, within the life of my battery. But on Wednesday, maybe it was just taking me much longer to do the 2 games than normal. And the next thing I knew, my battery was flashing. Right. And I had a very, very respectful and courteous person from the Bethlehem Area School District kind of tap on my window and ask me to politely leave the parking lot. But he was very concerned about my well-being.
Right. Right.
And so I had to find a new location at Liberty, the Friday, Saturday matchup. So we're evolving, but yeah, it's not easy to do. but we're trying. We're giving it a good effort, and kudos to the kids. They make it fun for us.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it, Joe. We're not doing it for ourselves, believe me.
No, definitely not. And, to witness, something that like I did with Old Forge and, again, not to, the Scranton Prep game was great too, but, that's part of what makes sports great is what, these kids, these teenagers, are able to accomplish, achieve what they're able to achieve.
I'm glad you brought that up because it is such a great emotional high for us to see them succeed and enjoy, revel in those celebrations. But it is also heartbreaking in having to endure the losses.
Right.
There is a finality about the state playoffs that any athlete who has not experienced it, you can't describe it. Okay.
Right.
So, and I have to thank, I want to do it earlier, but I'm going to do it now. Packy Doherty, Brody Martin, they were phenomenal on Friday night to come out with due diligence and sit through an interview with me. And then that just carried over to kids who really were down. Mikey Schimmelfennig, Kyle Connor, two seniors whose careers ended at Riverside also. And then the two underclassmen, Braden Rose and Nico Antonacci. Just very respectful and very mature young athletes. And I want to thank them for that.
Absolutely, Joby. And I think if it works for you, I think that's a great place to cap the podcast.
Okay, Joe, so you're going to wrap it up, but I'm going to tell you I'm not picking Duke to win the tournament.
That's fine. The Caleb Foster injury doesn't really help. But anyway, hopefully, good luck with your bracket. That's right. You're going with Hofstra. If they win it all, I think you're going to win that bracket. So, thank you to Cameron Parker for joining us at the top of the show. Be sure to follow us, the Times-Tribune.com/sports, as we get to the pinnacle of the basketball season. And be sure to follow us on X as well at SportsTT. Follow Joby's Times-Tribune Facebook page. Go to the Times-Tribune Sports on Instagram and Facebook as well. And subscribe to this podcast wherever you get it, Apple, Spotify. You can listen to it on YouTube, Amazon Music, and of course Podbean, where we record this show weekly, or we at least try to. So, and of course, Joby, thank you for joining me again.
So, honestly, my pleasure. I enjoyed talking with Cam as well. And
yeah,
you did a great job this weekend, Joe. Give yourself a little credit.
I appreciate you, Joby. Thank you very much. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with some good news from our team.